store for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord has for me on that day. And not only to me, but to all that have longed for his appearing. So I am absolutely positive after some conversations and knowing Kit and knowing her beliefs in Christ. And man, I had the honor, and what a privilege it was. Her Bible's over here on the table. I would encourage, and I'm sure Jim's okay, flip through there and look at this thing, because it is well worn. Much like some of us' basic text, it's like if it's falling apart, chances are our lives aren't. And man, her Bible is just full of notes and little highlights and quotations and all these questions. And I ran upon several things. One of the questions that she had written up in the margin was about, what is it like when we pass? What does that look like? And then she had on down in there, she had highlighted about 3 or 4 different scriptures and things. And it was just answering her questions. She's seeking and she was looking for, and she found what she was after. And I'm grateful, man. That makes my heart smile to know that she's at peace and that she's whole again, and she's not suffering and she's not struggling. I'm thankful and honored for that. I met Kit a little more than 25 years ago when I came into the program, fresh, hot mess, and Mark's laughing. Come in here a fresh, hot mess, and I think Jim and Kit had invited me over to dinner one day, one afternoon, and that was my first encounter. And man, she approached me and came to me like any of us, I guess, would expect nowadays, is in love and with a big old hug and just a beautiful smile like she has and always has had. And then I was looking at what Jim had pulled from pulled out of the We Do Recover. It says, recovery becomes a contact process. We lose the fear of touching and being touched. We learn that a simple, loving hug can make all the difference in the world when we feel alone. We experience real love and real friendship. It's out of the basic text, 6th edition, page 91. I love that it says that because that hug that I was given so many years ago became infectious. And then the continued hugs that I receive when I see some guys that I haven't seen in a long time, just like today. There's a ton of you guys in here that I know that I haven't seen in a long time. And I still feel that love and that hug, and I'm grateful and thankful for that. What I do want to encourage is in these coming days, again, you know, some days it's just going to be that hug that gets Jim through, or it's going to be that hug that gets Stuart through, or any of the rest of the family members. It's just going to be that one personal contact that we've learned to do, and it's going to be it's going to make for a beautiful thing. I just really, again, I appreciate it, family. Thank y'all. Know that you're loved and prayed for daily, and I think we have a song with John and Caroline.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never failed me. All my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest nights. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. Yeah, 'cause all my life you have been faithful. Oh, yes, you have. And all my life you have been goodness of God. Your goodness is running after me. Yeah. Your goodness is running after me. With my life laid down, I surrender now. I give you everything. Your goodness is running after me. And all my life you have been faithful. Oh, yes, you have. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of my God. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Please now, Deb, if you'll come up.
Hi, my name is Deb Ferris, and I am one of Kit's many, many friends. And I had the honor and privilege of being her sponsor for several years. It's hard to put 36 years of a friendship into words. It really is. I met her when she joined a very special group of people in a group called Narcotics Anonymous. And that was where she began her journey. She learned how to laugh there. And she learned how to develop relationships with other women. And that was real big for Kit. I remember that. And she developed friendships with Pam and Ann and Melissa and Belinda. There were so many women that were part of that group that came in right around the same time. And we all watched her learn how to date again. And she fell in love with Jim. We watched her marry him. And watching that whole romance develop and come to fruition was just like watching a fairy tale. It really was. And we gather today to celebrate and remember the life of Kit. She was a cherished friend, a confidant, and many times a beacon of hope. For real. She was a woman of intense kindness, unwavering loyalty, and she had a boundless enthusiasm. She was a kind, gentle, and loving spirit. She spent so much time doing service work. One of my first memories of Kit was walking around in a large circle in a very small space, probably wasn't as big as the stage back here, trying to stuff registration packages for the Bound Freedom Convention. And it was so small and so many people jammed in this little tight space, we kept bumping into each other. And it was always Kit's infectious laugh that got us. We were just hysterically laughing, trying to put things in envelopes, with Kit leading the way with her laughter and frivolity. Her energy knew no limits, that's for sure. She lived her life with purpose, and she made every single moment special. As her sponsor, we shared a lot of aha moments, many. And at times, like most of us, Kit could be her own worst enemy. And I remember after her first relapse how frustrated she was and angry with herself. And she struggled thinking everyone in the rooms was angry with her too. And it was after a lot of work and a lot of discussion, and it came on one day just out of nowhere. We started talking about another person in our fellowship that had passed. His name was Matt Gordon. And Matt had spent considerable time trying to find a phone number to reach Kit. And I had given it to him, and I said, well, his name came up. I said, did he never call you? And she said, no. Why would he want to talk to me? He didn't like me. And I said, no, that one's wrong. Matt loved Kit. He was frustrated because he suffered from another disease as well, and he fought so hard to live. And I was explaining what all he had said to me, and I literally watched her. She said the hair just stood up on the back of my neck, and a dead man spoke to me. And it seemed to make a real difference in the way Kit viewed things in that relapse. It was a big turning point for her to realize no one was angry with her. They were angry with the disease that we shared. Some of her greatest joy came in decorating her home. I will never forget being at their house one day, and she had spent hours, arranging pictures just so. And she had all her favorite little things on display and little cabinets and shelves. And what, do you think I should move this here or move that there? She loved doing that. She loved her home. She also knew every time she spoke to me where Jim was, if he was out of town, and what day and what time exactly he should be pulling in from the airport. She always knew. She liked to call and tell me what spiritual principle she was working on that day. And she was also real quick to tell me if she was acting out on character defects. She always knew when she called what her part in any given situation was. Her self-inventory had gotten that acute. We also talked about how to carry traditions into our everyday lives and in our relationships with others. Kit's left us physically, but her spirit lives on in the countless memories that we have and that we share, and the lessons that she taught us. She taught us about friendship. Heaven knows she taught us about resilience. And she also taught us about joy. She leaves behind a legacy of kindness, laughter, and love that will continue to live in us. And we will carry her memory in our hearts forever, learning to be grateful for the time that we did have with her. Because often we remember it was too short. But we've had a lot of good years with Kit and the impact that she made on our lives. And Jim, I believe I speak for everyone here today in saying that we're here for you in your sorrow as well as the rest of the family. I, for one, Jim, know that she loved you from the bottom of her heart. She marveled time and time again how you stood beside her no matter what. She talked about it a lot. And may you find reassurance and comfort in knowing that we are all here for you, your whole family. We can celebrate now for Kit because she's in the light. Those that touch our lives will live in our hearts forever. Thank you.
I think there's some folks going to do a eulogy. Are you all going to share in that? Is everybody prepared? If you would, come forward and maybe sit up here beside Deb so we can, as one finishes, another start. I'm sorry. Okay, I do. So whoever's first. Here you go.
said I wasn't gonna cry.
It's okay.
I'm Avery. I'm Kit and Jim's niece. I just wanted to come up here and really thank you all. I was worried about my uncle at first, but to see all the love that he has and support that he will have, moving forward. Thank you all for coming. I know a lot of you traveled far. I got to spend the last couple moments with Kit, and I believe God does everything for a reason. So I'm just really thankful for that. It's good to know that she has a lot of love, and she was just a woman of God, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see all of your beautiful faces here today to celebrate Kit. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Stuart's younger other half. And for those of you that do know who I am, howdy. I kind of feel like that we're all family because we all love and know Kit. And we know that Kit loved everyone she crossed paths with as her family. And in this world, it's rare to meet a human such as Kit that loves people for who they are. Her warmth has always made you feel like you were family and at home. I remember the first time I met Kit. Stuart and I went over to her and Jim's house, and we pulled up in the driveway, and she was knelt down in her flower bed. She hopped up, ran over to me, pushed Stuart to the side, and gave me one of those famous going hour hugs. Being so petite, her hug packed a punch, and that made me feel like family. And at that moment, I knew God winked at both of us, and we were in the right place at the right time. And I felt like I had already known her for an eternity. Over the past 12 years, I was fortunate to be able to spend time with she and Jim. Stuart and I would go over to their house often, and for a while we had a standing appointment to have supper over their house every Wednesday night. We would have so many conversations about life, and if the conversation turned out to be serious, somehow we always ended up turning that conversation into laughter to the point we were all in tears. We always could have candid conversations and open up without judgment. Kit came to stay with us for a week a few years ago. Stuart had to work out of town most of the time, and I was lucky to have some one-on-one time with Kit. I got to learn about her life's journey. She shared stories about growing up and all of her adventures with her family. I still have a picture in my mind that she used to tell me about how her mom would run around and always had on little tennis outfits. She boasted and bragged about her mom and dad. She boasted and bragged about her sister. She boasted and bragged about all of her nieces and nephews. She shared with me how grateful she was for her recovery and her sobriety, and how she held her recovery family in such high regards. If it works, it works, and she was worth it. She asked about my life's journey and my upbringing, and really got to know me and my family and my life's journey. And for that, she will always hold a special place in my heart. Thank you, Kit and Jim, for all the love and support and advice that you have given to me and Stuart through the years about our relationship. It has truly helped me from keep wanting to thump him in the trachea. Thank you, Kit, for all of your stories, all of your laughter, all of your hugs, and all of your support, and just simply being human. I once shared with Kit that my grandmother has a family motto, that love reflects love, and her love definitely reflected on everyone that she was a part of their life. Before I go, I want everyone to close their eyes. I want you to think of Kit in her yard surrounded by her flowers, her hummingbirds, and her cats, and cats, and cats, and of course the neighbors' dogs. I want you to picture her with her loved ones that have passed, and I also want you to picture her with your loved ones that have passed, because I'm sure she's already made them her family. When you all leave here today, be kind to one another, teach love, teach peace, smile, hug someone close to you, Hug someone that you have never hugged before, but just make sure it's one of those famous golden hour hugs and put an extra squeeze in it for Kit. Kit, may you rest in peace, and don't you worry. We will watch over Jim and your family and all your loved ones, as I'm sure that's what you're doing right now. Thank you all for listening and being here today and remembering Catherine Ward Goldenauer. Keep Kit in your heart. Peace and love.
Hi, my name's Christine Baxter, and I'm the oldest sister.
I'm Jessica. I'm the baby sister.
I'm glad to see everyone here today. I'd like to start with a story that Kit told me as an adult. When she was in high school, she decided she was going to start growing things in the backyard. Well, that's fine. It's very healthy. And she did. She had a nice little plot back there, and things were going along just fine. And one afternoon, my grandfather, our grandfather, went out to, go around the grounds and just sort of check things out. And he found this little plot, and he kind of looked at it and wasn't too sure exactly what it was. He thought, well, it looks messy. I think I'll just remove it. So he did. He helped my dad, and he just, removed this growing plant. And Kit comes home from school the next day, goes up to check on her little plants, and they're gone. Now, unbeknownst to my grandfather, as well as everybody else in my family, Kit was growing marijuana. And because she was growing marijuana, she couldn't say anything because it was all gone. So that ended her growing at that time. And later she grew up a little bit more and she became a mature woman. And she was always gardening, okay? She had beautiful gardens, just like some people have said. And she loved her birds and she loved her gardens, and they were beautiful. Every spring, Kit and I would spend time together. We would go to a nursery, and we would pick out the plants and shrubs that we wanted for the summer growing season, which worked out really well. Now, Kit, being who she is, she went ahead and talked to the people that were trying to do the selling, and she was also chatting with all the customers, about what they were growing and what she was growing, and she was just being herself. And she just continued that even into one summer when the three of us, Kit and Jessica and myself, we went to Carolina Beach. And it was to celebrate one of Jessica's birthdays. And again, we had a really good time, and Kit is busy again. She's talking to the waitresses, and she's talking to the people at the swimming pool, and she's talking to the waiter when we were in line. And we had a concert, a beach concert, beach music, and she was talking to all those people too. So at one point, Jessica and I put our heads together, and we looked at Kit, and we said, do you remember?
No.
Are you?
I remember that, but I don't know
I know what we said.
What we say?
Are you running for
sheriff.
town mayor?
Mayor, that's right. Running for mayor.
At this point, I will stop and let you throw what you want to say.
Yeah,
But I'm
she
not
was always
finished.
running for mayor, wasn't she? Mm-hmm. So she just never knew a stranger, did she? I mean, she just didn't. So my name is Jessica Haberbush Smith. I was also known as Jessie, or little sister, and Sissy. And among all those names Kit had for me, my favorite was Sissy. Okay, she kind of coined that for me. So she was my best friend as well as my nemesis, because I was her little sister and got on her nerves a lot as a kid. But as we grew older, we relied on each other so much. Um, and we knew that whatever happened, we would always be there for each other, always. One thing is for sure, our life is not going to be the same without Kitten around. So she loved our little family so much, and she was the best Aunt Kitty, the best sister. She had a special love for all of her nieces and nephews, and this has touched them quite a bit, as you can see from Avery. Her love for Jim and her son Stuart were always at the forefront of her mind. She was a good and dutiful wife, mother, sister, and aunt. Once when our kids were little, in Nashville, my children, I had come down with the flu, and I didn't get sick very often. And Kit had called me, and I must have sounded terrible, because I'm telling you, she dropped everything and drove the 400 miles to Nashville and took care of let me stay in bed. She took care, got the kids. They had a million things they were always doing, got them to where they needed to go. She did laundry, she cooked, and she even took the opportunity to go to the nursery, and she planted spring flowers for me. So, and I'm sure she did things like that for all of you as well. We often talked about our frame of common experiences, how we could say something to each other and we'd think it's hilarious and nobody else would understand what was going on. Christine and Kitten and I had so many private jokes that all sisters have with each other, and we're the only ones that are going to understand that.
It's okay.
So, yeah. So we laughed so much. We really laughed so much through all the good and the hard times. Kit, when Kit would call, she would this may not be funny to you guys, but she would always go, "Hello, my name is Jose Hermano." Okay, if y'all don't know, that was an Ed Sullivan comedian by the name of, I looked it up last night, his name was Bill Dana, and he was on the Ed Sullivan Show many times. And then she got me into saying that. "Hello, my name Jose Hermano." So even when Avery, do you remember, there was a period of time before she went into her coma, and I got up in her face and I'd go, "Hello, my name," and she would help me finish it, "Jose Hermano," and she smiled. Sunday nights when we were growing up was our favorite time. I mean, we would, my mother was very formal with dinners. We always had it at 5:30. We had, a vegetable, a meat, a starch, and they would serve us all, and she had certain portions. But Sunday night, she made a Chef Boyardee pizza, the ones in the boxes, and we could take it into the family room and eat off of the coffee table. We'd watch Lassie, the Lassie show, for a half hour, and then Kit and I would kind of fight each other to get up to the screen, and they're scrolling the credits, and we would kiss Lassie in between, the different credits. And then we'd watch the Ed Sullivan Show, and then we would proceed to argue about who was the cutest beetle or who was the cutest monkey. But that was just, she was always right. In case y'all didn't know, Kit was always right. So as a kid, I always wanted to be like Kit. I mean, I just really looked up to her. When she left our Catholic school in 7th grade, St. Anne's Catholic School, to go to Quail Hollow Junior High, I had to do the same thing. 2 years later, I was 2 years behind her in school. When she ran for class officer in 7th grade, when I got there, I had to run for class officer. I won that one. When she tried out for cheerleader, she made the cheerleader. She was the cutest, absolute cutest, best personality. I had to do the same, but I didn't make cheerleader, and that's okay. She was just so special, and there was this really special quality about her. She loved people, and people knew that, and people always wanted to know her and be her friend. She and Jim always have had open arms and an open home to, and probably many of you have been there and maybe even spent the night there. And I'm sure Jim will continue to do the same. As adults, all three of us leaned on each other during our family joys and crises. When my husband, John, died a couple of years ago, she was always there every day. If I needed her, I could have called her in the middle of the night. She loved him, and it was nice that she spoke about him often, because some people don't want to bring that up because it might make me hurt. But you want to hear about. Like, I want everybody to tell me about Kit today. She gave me one little last gift that has really helped me through this. When she was, last time I saw her really awake, she wanted me to sit in front of her while she was eating. And she goes, "I just saw John," that's my husband, "standing behind you, and he's smiling." So I know that he was there to welcome her. That has really helped me through all of this. I know that he and her other brother-in-law, Joe, my parents, are there welcoming her to heaven. Kit loved Jesus. She loved her family. She loved her friends. Kit loved her kitty cats and spoke of them as children years after they had passed.
Yes.
She loved the beach. She loved her garden and plants and flowers. She loved music. She was always turning me on to new artists or new songs. She loved cooking and experimenting with food and telling Jim how to fix certain things. But most of all, she loved Jim. And I'm so glad that you all are here to help support him. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stuart Huff. Take a deep breath here. First of all, I'd like to start out by saying thank you to everyone who came today to celebrate Kit. Or as I will always remember her, Miss Kitty. That's what I would call her when I was a young child. And for us to remember how wonderful and beautiful she was to all of us. Kit married my father when I was 5 years old. I'm 55 now, so that was 50 years of her in my life. I always felt safe and loved by her. Though she entered my life as a stepmother, she quickly became so much more. For me, she was a source of unwavering love and support, just like she made everyone around her feel. So Kit loved cats. That's been brought up in everybody's talk so far. She did. Anyone who knew her knew this. I think that when I was, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8, I think she had like 14 or 15 cats. That was a lot. One of them was wild. His name was Jack. He only came to her. He wouldn't go to anybody else. And she named them after the alphabet. So there was, Mama was A, and then there was B, C, D, E. I thought she had some kind of magical power because she would go outside and call them, and every one of them would come up to the porch. And I just thought, she's Sleeping Beauty. I'll fast forward a little bit. There were so many moments in my life that if Kit had not have been there, I don't know that I would have survived. And I want to share just a couple of those. I could keep you here for hours and tell you about it, but we won't do that. I think one of the most poignant ones that I will always remember is when I came out to my mother as a gay man. She didn't take it very well, to say the least. I don't know exactly what happened, but somehow I ended up at Kids for that weekend. I probably asked to leave to stay with her. She welcomed me with open arms. She said it didn't matter to her. She loved me unconditionally. And I just remember that moment from going from feeling unsafe and unloved to feeling cared for and loved in just a matter of seconds. That was her magical power, always. And I wrote this down too because I think that, on that day, Kit became what I know as today is my first ally in my life, which is a role she played until the very end. After we talked and cried, we put each other's hair in what we called hairspray mohawks, which is just that we soaked each other's hair with hairspray and then blew them straight up in the hair. There is a picture of that somewhere. I don't know where, but I'm going to find it. We were so punk rock. A couple of years later, when I was 16 years old, my real mother and stepfather and I had an argument. I think it was over a haircut that I got. But I wanted out, and I moved out. And I packed my little 510 Datsun station wagon and drove to Kids. And I pulled up in the driveway and walked through the back door, and there she was standing. And she said, "I've talked to your mom. I know everything. There's chocolate chip cookies in the oven, and we're going to sit and talk and eat chocolate chip cookies." She made the best cookies. She was always baking cookies. I love that. She told me that she had gotten that 2-bedroom apartment in Dilworth because she knew that I would eventually move in and that she wanted me to have my own space there, and that's what she gave me. She gave me space to be who I am. And at that time, it was pretty crazy, but she was always there for me. She was my confidant. She was my cheerleader. She was my best friend. When Kyle and I got married, it was a beautiful day. Kit and Jim both came to the courthouse with us, and we were so grateful. We had a shotgun wedding, I guess you would call it. But we'll never forget that day. They both loved Kyle and just treated him as another son. It was never anything different. I'll back up. I didn't put this in here, but I'm going to tell this, because Kit and I both, I went to my first NA meeting when I was 16 years old with Kit. And, I didn't stick around, but she did, And I think that is just, another connection that we had. And with Jim, there was I said this to Jim the other night, we were standing in the house. There was a level of intimacy that Kit always was able to give, and that she taught me when talking to another human and being around other people. There was just something special that she had that I will always hold on to, and Jim. I don't know if there will ever be another person in my life like Kit. She used to say that we basically grew up together. But I guess that's what a young mother says to a child once they've grown up. And I always really considered her my mom. We used to sit together at the breakfast table and read People magazine together. She turned me into the pop culture warehouse that I am today of useless information. But we loved that. We loved looking at it. This was back when you actually had to open a magazine and read about something instead of picking up your phone. I remember the day that Kit called me to tell me that she had been diagnosed with cancer. It was devastating. She, like anyone else that had been given that diagnosis, was overwhelmed and scared. But she put on a brave face and she was ready for the fight. You know, she didn't want other people to see what was going on. And she made sure for the most part that didn't happen. And Kyle and I would go down for dinner on Wednesdays and sit around the table and talk everything that Kyle said. We would, go into these, deep, dark, serious conversations, and then by the end of it, we were laughing, crying. Just didn't matter. The past couple of years, Kit and I had a lot of conversations. I would leave my meetings, and we'd talk about 3 or 4 times a week. When I left my meeting, I would call her and I would talk to her all the way home. I just wanted to know how she was doing, how her treatments were going, how she was feeling, what appointments she had missed. But then she rescheduled them for sure. Those treatments really took a toll on her body. She would also confide in me things about Jim, just how grateful she was for you, for all the things that you did for her. She would also confess at how impatient she was with him. But she knew where that came from, and she would own it. It came from her own frustration of what she was experiencing. It had nothing to do with her love for him, and she would tell me that because she loved you so much. After her stroke, she was in rehab. She was doing really good. She was really pushing herself and wanting to get better. She made great strides every day. Like one day she took 5 steps, and the next day she took 105. Like we were like, all right, She hated the food, but she persevered anyway. We had to get them to change the menu. And that was fine. So I have to tell this story. So the admissions nurse came in, they come in and bring this big computer, and they're getting all of her information. And so the nurse said that we needed to come up with a password so that if any of the family wanted to call up there, if they just gave this password, that would give them the okay to give any information on how she was doing and what was going on with her. So I was standing kind of back behind Kit above her. She was in the bed. And I said, well, she probably wants to say, get me out of here. Because she'd said that so many times during her stay in the hospital and in rehab. She would just look up and go, get me out of here. Sometimes she'd whisper it to me. And then, so I said that, and she looked up at me and she goes, no, I want it to be mayonnaise. I was like, we were like, mayonnaise? She was probably craving that at the time, She was on a diabetic diet, so mayonnaise was definitely not part of that. In the end of her beautiful life, she was surrounded by the people she loved and home where she wanted to be. Jim, thank you for always taking care of her and being the best husband and making that happen in such a short time from the time that she was diagnosed. And you were her North Star always. Kit was my angel, and I know that God put her in my life to protect me. Accepting her loss and dealing with the grief that comes in massive waves is only made survivable by being surrounded by the people that loved her too. So this day for me and for everyone who knew her, for each other, is so important for all of us. And I'm so grateful for her beautiful family, her sisters, and her nephews and nieces. It's just good to be around you guys today. And I want to thank Jim again for allowing me to speak. This day came way too soon for all of us. So, thank you guys.
I know all of y'all know who I am. There are a couple of stories that I want to share for those of you that don't know these stories. I basically dope fiended my wife into going out on a date with me. And the way that I did that was I approached her and I said, I need somebody to practice on. Not that kind of practice, like actually practice like picking somebody up at their house and taking them to dinner and then taking them home and then, wash, rinse, repeating that, instead of the typical, second date U-Haul in somebody's driveway kind of scenario. So, and then she hemmed and hawed, and I know she probably had a conversation with Deb about it. He's such a good friend and all this stuff. And so Deb was like, whatever you decide to do, or I don't know what that conversation was about, but eventually she said yes, and we got on the motorcycle and we went to Sonny's Real Pet Barbecue, and then we went to a meeting somewhere, and then I took her home. So fast forward 6 months, I proposed because I didn't want anybody else to get their hands on her. And then like 10 days shy of the anniversary of our first date, which would have been on the 4th of September of 1991, we were standing, and the reason I told everybody it was casual today is because that was Kit. She was just kind of casual. So she showed up to get married in like a black t-shirt and a pair of jeans, and I think I had on a pair of jeans and a shirt or something like that. But the funny part of that story is that we got married in front of a judge who had already gotten off work, gone to the bar, and he was really, I'm surprised he was able to stand, honestly. And he made it through so anyway, we were married. And kind of echoing what's already been shared, I don't know that there's any language package or any combination of language packages that will adequately capture 35 years of living with another human being. So to that point, or to that end, I wrote her a letter. You'll have to bear with me. It's in the rule book. Dear Kitten, I love you so much and I miss you terribly. I know that your spirit is free from your body, and I'm grateful for that. Thank you for being my wife, my lover, my best friend, my confidant, and my reason to continued living, principled living. I can share with you that all the sadness and shock of your passing has been felt globally. Many shared tears and could not believe you were really gone. So that has been a little challenging to negotiate, and I've navigated it. So let me tell you about the last 2 weeks or so. When I kissed you goodnight on Thursday, the evening of the 6th, this would have been of November, you were tucked in, and I kissed you goodnight as I had every night. You kissed me back and told me goodnight. I came home fully expecting you to be awake and alert on Friday morning, but you weren't. Sandy, Noah, and Avery came on Friday morning, and you were burning up with fever, They checked your blood pressure and it was really low, so they had the ambulance come and take you next door to the ER. We respected your wishes, and by late Friday afternoon, you were in hospice care. You were nonverbal at that point, and when we transported you home Friday night, I told you that I was taking you home, and you nodded in approval. We kept vigil around you all night, and no one wanted to leave. On Saturday, Chris, Melissa, and Zane, along with Hannah, Josh, and Cashin, all came by to visit. Bill and Sherry, John Baxter also came. And shortly after your 5 p.m. dose of medicine, you stopped breathing, and Stuart, me, and Jessica gathered around you, and we were connected. We commended your spirit to Jesus. And we believe it was heard and executed. I'm saying all that to say that you were home, surrounded by family. Kyle and Stuart were there too, love and prayer. Your passing was so peaceful, and your spirit was free. In the days that have followed, all the pieces of putting a service together have fallen beautifully into place, and I think you would be really proud of the communal effort that went into planning and executing it. So there are many, many people here today to celebrate the life you lived. I can feel you in every hug, every tear, every I love you, and every signature of support we have all gotten in the last 2 weeks. I trust you can see all who have gathered, and I trust you can feel all the love in this room for you. We are even streaming this on Zoom so that everyone who couldn't travel could be connected to this event. Glennie even came Wednesday, so I think I'm going to have to adopt him now. I will keep you posted on how that works out for us. The support has been overwhelming and welcomed. Not sure what it's like to adopt somebody that, never mind. I don't know what to do with it all. So I just keep saying thank you. I don't know what to do with it all. So I just keep saying thank you. Thank you. So last night I pulled a U. I was driving and smoking and was on the phone, and the cherry fell off my cigarette onto my shirt. It burned a hole in my shirt, then on my t-shirt, then onto my skin. It hurt a little. Actually, it hurt a lot. But it also made me feel you. I still feel you, and I'm going to go on surrounded by the love you left behind. And that is my final point. You lived and loved many, cared for many, encouraged many, scolded some, and left an irreplaceable energy behind for all of us. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for sharing 35 amazing years as my soulmate and truly being the best part of who I am today. TMD, baby, TMD. And now your watch has ended. Rest now and suffer no more. Love, Poopy. P.S. On a side note, Glennie organized all your jewelry yesterday and found me a gold necklace to put your wedding ring on. By the way, they got her wedding ring off the day they came and got her. We couldn't get it off. We were going to cut it. But anyway, they got it off. It kind of reminded me, so the necklace, it kind of reminded me of a thing Harry would talk about called a Mr. T starter kit. So this is what a Mr. T. The point, though, is that they finally got your wedding band off, so there's that. I love you. Sweet dreams.
There we go. Thank you, Jim. So Jimmy asked if Caroline and I would be honored and privileged to sing some songs for the celebration of Kit's life. And I'm going to talk directly to Kit here because what I believe is that she is sitting next to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, right now, and rejoicing in all of us. And Jimmy said, just in classical Jim fashion, said, play whatever you want, sing whatever, 2 songs. And so he didn't tell me not to speak, though. And And I'm a much better speaker than a talker. And there's one thing that's on my heart that I want to say. The depth and scope of Kit Goenauer's love, I think, was exemplified by the fact of how deeply and richly she shared her husband with all the men that he sponsors in this room and all around the world. She did it, as far as I could tell, unselfishly and willingly. And Kit, I am so thankful for you for that and so many other things. And Jimmy, I thank you for showing me and these other men and women what it looks like to navigate through the challenges in life with grace and dignity and God's power behind you to give us all strength and courage. So I just felt compelled to say that. He's probably going to chastise me for talking after his. And Kit, we love you, and we look forward to seeing you. And in the end, this whole thing is really about holding each other's hands and walking each other home, man. And that's what this song is about. Well, I have seen my last tomorrow, and I am holding my last breath. Goodbye, sweet world of sorrow. My new life begins with death. I am standing on a mountain, and I can hear angels' song. I am crossing over Jordan. Take my hand, Lord, lead me home. All my burdens are behind me. I have prayed my final prayer. Don't you cry over my body, 'cause that ain't me. Lying there, I am standing on a mountain. I can hear the angels' song. I am crossing over Jordan. Take my hand, Lord, lead me home. And I am standing on a mountain. I can hear the angel's song. I am crossing over Jordan. Take my hand, Lord, lead me home. We love you, kid. Take my hand, Lord, lead me home.
You got beautiful John, Caroline. What a beautiful outpouring of love and support and laughter and stories and just a beautiful time to be together. And I couldn't say anything or add to anything that's been said, so I won't get in the way today. I'll just say thank you, Kit, for the love that you've shown me and all these other beautiful people that are in here today. I will say, just a matter of housekeeping, Jim and some wonderful folks have provided some refreshments and some things, and would love it if everybody in here would stay and hang out and do a thing that we coined the phrase gathering, because we didn't know what else to call it. You know, just a time of fellowship and a good time to hang out and just to love on the family. And family, we love y'all. We pray for y'all, man. We just can't express to you enough what your family, through Kit and through Jim and through this program that we all share and identify with, we thank you. They mean the world to us. So thank y'all for sharing them with us. I want to read one scripture, and I'm gonna close. We're gonna close this thing out. It's out of 2 Thessalonians 3:16. It says, "May the Lord of peace give you peace at all times and in all situations, and may the Lord be with you in any and every situation." I think that pretty much sums it up. May we just leave here in peace today. But I know one thing I'd love to do, and I asked Jim's permission if we could circle up. I'd love to close this thing in serenity prayer in a circle. Yep. It doesn't have to look like a circle. It might look like a paramecium. I don't know, but we're going to do this thing.
Should we hold the iPad?
You can. Absolutely.
I'm holding your hand.
Just feel peace in me, you know. I got goosebumps. It's not crazy. I'm sure. Do that with my wife all the time. It's like, I have to swap hands. I gotta swap hands.
You got a niece, don't you?
I do. I've been here. Jim has been my grandfather for a little more than 25 years. Pray God to come in. Yeah, there it is. Thank you, Lord, I wanted in. Who are we not? God. Grant us